the trouble is there are apostasy passages in the New Testament. The best way to understand those, in my view, is that they are under the terms of the new covenant. They're covenant members, and they become covenant breakers. Not that they lose their eternal salvation, but they're covenant breakers.
Well, so wait a minute.
They're sanctified by the blood of the covenant, but then they are judged because they're covenant breakers.
But they keep their salvation?
No.
Okay, so perfection is not actually salvation. How about in Hebrews chapter 7? When he is able to save to the uttermost those who draw nigh unto God by him. The drawing nigh unto God by him is clear in the new covenant. So his intermediatory position allows him to save perfectly. What about those people that you say are in the new covenant that he fails to save?
I think that covenant is the word, the document, okay? The document that stipulates blessings and cursings, just like we read about in all the Bible. And clearly in the book of Hebrews, there are cursings. There are stipulations for judgment. Now, every time you talk about a covenant, you don't always specify every detail of that covenant. You sometimes talk about the blessings, and God will do this for you. And sometimes you talk about the judgments. So clearly in Hebrews 6 and 10, it's judgment language.
So what are the better promises? Why is this a better covenant? If what you're saying is you had elect and non-elect under the old covenant, you got elect and non-elect under the new covenant.
Well, we agree with that.
We just got more.
We do agree, right?
No, we do not. No, we do not.
Under the new covenant.
I'm sorry?
But you believe in the new covenant people in the church, in the visible church. In the
I think I've been pretty clear about that, but this is I'm asking you the questions right now. What makes it better?
Can you restate the question for me?
Okay, when it says that this is a better covenant, what makes it a better covenant? Jesus, okay. And what makes Jesus better than Moses? He just saves percentage-wise more?
Well, I can think of a lot of reasons why Jesus is better than Moses. But, if I need to detail them out, I'll be happy to start, but obviously he's the promised Messiah. He does the work. It's a once-for-all work. He accomplishes the redemption that's only pictured and forecast in the Old Testament. That priesthood change, that covenant change, that change of law, that fulfillment, that pouring out of the Spirit, that entering into the presence of God with equal access, Jews and Gentiles, that's all envisioned in the new covenant change.
When you talked about household baptisms, you said, in referring to 1 Corinthians chapter 1, that Paul's normative procedure was to baptize households. Is that correct?
I was drawing upon 1 Corinthians 1:16. The text says that I did also baptize the household of Stephanas. Beyond that, I do not know whether I baptized any other. The pronoun is allos. The referent is household, as far as I can tell.
In fact, haven't you said elsewhere that that's grammatically established?
That seems to be what it says. As far as I understand the grammar, yes.
Okay, so given that right before that, in verse 14, he is giving the names of individuals.
Yes.
When you have a list, and it says any other, isn't it true that almost all translations of the Bible say any other person or anyone else?
Well, I'm reading from the New American Standard, not a Paedo-Baptist publication,
yes,
and it says other.
Right. But given that we understand in Greek grammar that when you have a list that is mixed, you cannot make the limitation that you've made, isn't that a rather challengeable statement that you've made?
I did baptize the household of Stephanas. Beyond that, what's the reference to that?
When it says tina, if any other. When you look back, there's a mixture, households and individuals. Are you saying the individuals are irrelevant?
Crispus. Was Crispus' household baptized?
Well, notice it says Crispus and Gaius. I baptized Crispus and Gaius. And then you have, don't remember if I remember any others. Also, the household of Stephanas. Oikon's only used with Stephanas. The point is...
But Crispus did have a household, and it was baptized. That's the argument.
How do you establish an assertion that it was an apostolic standard practice by saying, well, this has to be household, when there have been many commentators who have recognized that because of the mixed list that you cannot know. Isn't that an overreach?
I think you're missing a component of the argument. Crispus in Acts 18 has a household. And his household believed, and many Corinthians were baptized. So it's clear that Crispus' household was baptized.
But it doesn't say that in 1 Corinthians 1, does it?
No, but if his household was, that I am making an assumption.
You're making an assumption. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we've got that there. When you spoke of rivers flowing out of, well, let me back up just one before that. You said one of your charts went all the way back to Adam. Could you tell us what the sign of the covenant that was given to infants is from Adam to Abraham?
Well, I think the point of signs is not that it is given specifically to infants, but there were sacramental signs for the Adamic administration. A brocal, for example, a Reformed theologian points out that the trees in the garden functioned as signs of covenant. I think that's true. They're sacramental trees. I think also the rainbow functions that way for Noah. Then when you come to Abraham, you have the sign of circumcision.
So from Adam to Abraham, there was no specific covenant sign for children, right?
The household, well, again, Adam was to be given access to these trees. They were kicked out of the garden, so yeah, you're right. There was no covenant sign for infants then. There were sacrifices, right, that included their children.
Okay, Dr. Schwarbers, you get to go back on the offensive and start asking the questions, but don't be offensive.
Yeah.
Just take the initiative. Go ahead.
Okay. James, when you debate Muslims, do you pray with them?
Pray with them?
Yeah.
No.
Would you object to someone asking a Muslim in your debate to join with us in say the Lord's Prayer? Would you object to that?
I would.
Okay. Do you have your children in your Reformed Baptist Church pray the Lord's Prayer?
Well, they certainly join in the congregational prayers in the sense of showing respect for them. We certainly don't ask them to lead them, but certainly.
Would you ask a Muslim to join in with you in the
No,
Lord's
because
Prayer?
they've already made a profession of faith that is in opposition to Jesus Christ.
So if they haven't made a profession of faith in opposition, they're in the status of covenant children?
There's no such thing as a covenant child in the New Testament, so I don't even know how to answer that question.
When